Hello and welcome, bringing you the Round 17 predictions. Let's kick things off with Thursday night, which is an absolute belter. The Cats and the Demons in Geelong. Historically, this game has brought some absolute classics and I see this as no exception. Geelong will see some handy inclusions, whilst Melbourne will be treated to some massive ones, metaphorically and literally, with both ruckmen coming back in. The Cats demolished North Melbourne last week, whilst Melbourne were led by Petrarca and Oliver to a 5-goal win away from home. This is a terribly tough one to pick. I'll back Geelong, the most forgotten team in the league that constantly performs. Usually very good at home, from a large sample size. Don't be surprised if Melbourne are up to the task though. Next up we have Sydney and the Dogs, both coming off disappointment last week. Sydney's loss was in an inexcusable fashion, against a Bombers side who faced difficulty all year. Had a lead that seemed defensible, yet they failed to close out, and has to raise serious questions. Mills was awfully quiet in the loss. The Doggies competed for a half before they gave in against Brisbane, and this was surprising given that Brisbane had fallen victim to injury, not the Dogs. English is the main inclusion for the Dogs, which has been proven numerous times this year to be a difference maker, judging from the Dogs' performance with and without him in the side. The Swans will need to evaluate where it all went wrong last week, yet I think the Bulldogs, from that English inclusion alone, is the decisive factor for me. It will be a tough assignment, but I back them in. Next is Collingwood North Melbourne. Do I have to say much here? The Pies held on again. 6 from their last 6 in a gritty fashion. Moore looked like he hyperextended his knee and would be out for time, but some have gone as far to say he'll retain his spot. Amazing luck, a totem of the Pies season going in a dreamlike way. North, well. Should I talk about them and continue piling up the pain? As a reminder, a 112-point loss after only trailing by 4 points at quarter time. 108-point difference in 3 quarters. Unbelievable. And I don't think a review, a coach overhaul, anything, can save them from this mess at this point. Bring on the priority picks LOL. Only for them to use them wrong. This is an incredibly easy choice. Collingwood dub season. Next is Richmond, Gold Coast. Gold Coast could have been recipients of 5 in a row, however, have lost by a combined 7 points in their last 2 losses. Richmond were challenged by West Coast, but their offensive firepower was in full effect, racking up 128 points. The worry is Dustin Martin and the fate of Nick Vlastuin this week. Martin is confirmed out, whilst Vlastuin will challenge the tribunal call. Richmond have extensive backing as to why they'll win this game, yet I haven't hid the fact I love the Suns this year. For the second consecutive week, I back the Suns at home. Something has to give at some point. They've been excellent against some really good opponents. They'll have to step up again. Sure, the injuries keep coming, the bad luck is brewing. But I hold strong faith, and they'll beat the Tigers. Next is St Kilda Fremantle. It feels like Fremantle have dropped off in form, even though the wins still arrive. Winners of 4 from 5, their wins haven't been as comprehensive in recent memory. St Kilda fought off injury and a threatening Carlton outfit to pick up a season-defining 4 points last week. Reinforcements are on the way, although the win last week came at the expense of key figures in Howard and Clark. This is incredibly tough. St Kilda showed something last week that has been missing in their losing run, and you wonder whether they can replicate that trait. Fremantle's only loss in their last 5 came at the venue this game will be played at, and whilst Howard will be missing, Fremantle also have a hole to fill as Taverner is out. I'm going to go with the minority and select St Kilda here. Fremantle looked pretty uncertain in the latter parts of the Port Adelaide game, and St Kilda had a well-done, ironed-out strategy to combat Carlton, so if they do the same, I think the win could be sewn up. It's all a huge if, but I'll back the Saints for the upset. Port Adelaide take on GWS on Saturday night, and the Giants picked up a hard-fought win in a swimming pool. They got an unlikely goal-scoring contribution from Irishman Callum Brown. The Power, as recently mentioned, narrowly lost to Fremantle but once again showed off their ability to go on late-game runs, just too late. They fell short, had a couple opportunities to potentially close the gap further or take the lead. Jace Burgoyne looked right at home and composed on the big stage, and Georgiades took a sick as hanger. GWS, I'm not really showing them much love here, but that's because I'll back the Power into win. Lysette could be back as soon as the weekend, which transforms them entirely, and Butters also could be back. Some needed inclusions for the Power, just to address needs and add depth. Next game is Essendon and Brisbane. Brisbane were firm winners against the Dogs, but it came at a cost. Both halfback flankers Rich and Zorko are made of glass. Hamstring strained. We'll miss this one. The Bombers, man, I'm surprised. Halfway through the last, I dismiss them entirely, and what do? The complete opposite. Wonderful fight back, the beginning looked dire. But their team fought through, they got a Rising Star nomination out of it too, so that's a plus. Look, being in Brisbane, I don't think you can go past the home side, but having beaten the Saints and Swans in the last 3 weeks, the Bombers are more than capable in keeping the pundits talking. That goes without saying. They lost to the Eagles in that same time span, so use that info how you will. Regardless, Brisbane will win. Second last fixture is Hawthorn versus Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. Hawthorn lost last week. So did the Crows. Hawthorn have slumped. I think they've been swept under the rug. The Crows a little bit more successful. But still their season is well and truly lost. This one's a dead rubber essentially. I think Hawthorn will win this. Sure, they are losing out on Will Day this week with suspension, but I think this losing streak has taken away from some competitiveness and capability to knock off some decent sides, which they've done earlier this year. I think if there's a win coming, it'll be this game. Hawthorn to get up. Last game is Carlton West Coast in the Sunday twilight fixture. Ladder position is incredibly misleading here. West Coast are a trap game for every team and could potentially derail your season. Carlton could be a recipient of that. Sure, Wiedering returns this week, and that alone consolidates backline structure. On the other hand, West Coast are 10 times better than how they started the year, got 93 points on the board in a loss, which speaks volumes about McGovern's absence, and Kennedy returns this week. It's an incredibly intriguing game. Carlton kicked incredibly inaccurately last week, which, if history repeats itself, it'd be hard to give them the chocolates this week. There's plenty of good matchups all over the ground in this game, and I think Carlton will be subjected to a different kind of pressure this week. Not playing a good side in the top 8, but a bottom 8 side that can threaten an upset. I'll still back Carlton to win, but don't feel a sense of stupidity if you think West Coast will win. That's all from me, friends. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.